good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this edition of the Tuesday Telecast Roundtable. And at the Roundtable today, we are talking about lifting the image of others. And everybody on this call, lifting the image of others is really important to them. So I'm going to be definitely asking them about why it's so important to them and how that works in their life stream. So I have in the room people from the United States, from Texas. I'm up in Vermont. I have somebody who is in Mombasa. I have somebody in Nigeria, and I have somebody who is in the UK. And you've seen these people before if you've been following the roundtables, but this is a special group of people who are really, really changing the world around them bit by bit and step by step and smile by smile and service by service. And so I want to get inside of this conversation, rising the image of others. So, or lifting the image of others, us all rising up. So those people are in the waiting room. So let's bring them into the house.
Yay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this roundtable where we're going to talk about lifting the image of others. And this is about how we go forward and do things for the people around us, and not so much about who we are. And it may go into our philosophy. And I want to just open the floor to I also want the audience to know that indeed Zion is here. He is just not visible. So and to knock that fact home, I am going to ask Zion first. Zion, tell us why you are interested in this conversation.
All right. Thank you so much, Lydia. Thank you, Matt, Eny, and Allison for being here with us. And I think this is a very important conversation that we all need to drive home, because this is what humanity is all about, helping the image of others. I think it's an important discussion that we all need to embrace, because in my journey in life, I've come to understand this. When you help others, your life starts to have meaning and purpose, because at the end of the day, the world revolves around people. Whatever you're doing is for people. Are you buying? Are you selling? Whatever it is you're doing, are you running a company? Are you running a business? It's all about people. You need people to do things. People need you to do things. And the ability for you to uplift people, to support people, is what makes life what it is. For me, real joy comes not from material possession, but from people. It's not a function of what I've accumulated. It's not a function of the material things I have in my disposition. It's about the amount of people I've impacted. It's about the numbers of people I've been a blessing to, the number of people I've put smiles in their faces. For me, that's where real joy comes in. And when we give our heart in kindness and love, we get the riches of the universe. When you keep giving your heart in kindness and in love. When you are generous with others, you feel abundance. Your life feels fertile and rich and filled with miracles and possibilities. So it's about people. It's about you. It's about me. I know sometimes it's good to take care of yourself, which is very important. But then in taking care of yourself, you are taking care of yourself so that you can take care of people. You are looking after yourself so that you can look after people. You are prioritizing yourself so that you can prioritize people. So life is all about supporting others. It's all about lifting others. And if we can be able to do that, we find more meaning, we find more fulfillment in our life. So that's my contribution. And that's the reason why I'm so interested in this topic, because that's what my life is all about. In my journey of spreading positivity is all about people, spreading more love, more kindness, more compassion, more empathy, because together we can do so much more in making humanity better and making a positive impact in the world. That's me. That's my contribution. Thank you. Over to you, Lydia.
Thank you, Zion. That is such a true statement. When we take care of other people, we take care of ourselves. When we take care of ourselves, we can take care of other people. And we are all together as part of this same energy and this same community and this same flow. And it's so uplifting when we can uplift others. So I want to stop talking, and I'm going to ask Allison at this point, why are you here?
Because I worked for the first 35 years of my life in corporate America. And what I learned in corporate America is that the way to rise to the top, not that I ever did this, I promise I didn't, you have to make somebody else look bad. When you make somebody else look bad, you can look better. And that never made sense to me, ever. And so when I had someone working for me, my job, I thought, was to make them flourish, to make them excel, to find what they're good at and enable their strengths to shine. And then when they got promoted, to me, I looked at that made me look good. And I cannot tell you how many conversations I had during that time where people would say, well, why are you telling what all your employees are doing that's so good? And I'm like, because I want them to be promoted. Oh, but they're good at what they do. If you lose them, then what are you going to do? I'll hire another really good person to fill the spot. And guess what? That next person might even be better. And I'll just keep going. And I fought that for 35 years. And so now that I was able to recreate who I am and serve humanity and help women recreate their lives, because if we can lift women, we can lift men. And if we can lift women and men, guess what? That's the whole boat. That is the whole boat. And we lift the whole boat for everyone. And so it's about helping people find themselves, their best selves, their highest selves, to find their purpose, to be happy. And so much of that comes from being comfortable with yourself so that you can lift others. So that conversation about you've got to take care of yourself so you can help others, and be that example that you don't know people are watching. You don't know other people are watching you at any given time. There's always somebody watching you. And what if you just do some kind little act, or you say something nice about someone else, or you help shine the light on someone else's accomplishments, and that spreads. And it's kind of like that movie, Pass It Forward. If we all start working out of positivity and love and support for each other, because we're all connected, everything, it can change the world. And if I can change just this little bit of the world through that, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And everyone else is happy.
Ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Matt, can we hear from you?
Sure. Um, just hello, and a pleasure to be back on with you, Lydia. Especially with some of our now old friends. Some of them I've known before, but Allison, we've met on your show here, so it's been very good to meet her. And the other two lads, well, we both know each other. Well, all three of us know each other. I know both of them; they know me. But anyway, enough waffle. What am I doing here? People are the solution to everything for me, and everything I do revolves around social benefit networks, which is basically the drive of which is that once that we help each other, we help ourselves, just exactly what we've all said so far. humanity is in need of everybody to pull together now. There are different things that impact each and every one of us in various places around the world. And without us all teaming up together as people, because that's what we all are, it doesn't matter color, creed, religion, belief, size, shape, color, anything. What matters is that we are people. What matters is that we genuinely have love for one another, even if that's just the people in our families or in our homes or in our jobs that we go to on a day-to-day basis. But I think that it's bigger than that. I think that we all have much more in common, and we should all try and do just a little bit more just to make the world a better place. And like Allison was saying, if we can do that, if we can all contribute just that little bit more, and we can all team that together, just imagine what difference it would make. Zion mentioned about miracles. Well, one of the miracles is that many people have overcome difficulties in the past. And some of those people are here, and I celebrate them entirely because I know the miracle of what it's taken, even just recently with one of us coming out of hospital and sitting here in front of people today. And what a miracle and wonder that is. And just imagine the people who aren't currently able to do that. And if we were able to lift all of those people, and there's many of them, there's so many of them because there's so many things that put people down currently. What if we were to be able to lift those people, and what would their miracles do? What would they be capable of doing? And not only that, but if we kept doing that, not just for 2 years or 6 months or next week, but we were to do that for all time, what difference would that make to the world and to the future generations? It's just miraculous.
It is miraculous. And moreover, I think what I'm noticing so far in the conversation is that we're normalizing what it is to be human, and that what we're all doing is in lifting the image of others, is acknowledging that others are part of our world, and they make us happier, and that if we all can do our little part, and more of us do our little part and have that ripple effect, then the more people will be giving back to us with their smiles and their generosity. And so I want to now ask Eny to say, what do you think about this, and why are you interested in this conversation?
No, it's beautiful shares by everyone so far. As you're talking, I've been making notes because I think everything you said, I agree with. I guess as a marketer, my whole life's about lifting people. That's why I had to be here today, especially. When you do marketing, you of course, you publicize, advertise, promote other people. Otherwise, the strange thing, Lydia, is that no one cares about me. No one really cares, but that's fine. I can take that, right? No one cares about me, and no one wants to hear me, 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 me. They really, really don't. No, Matt. Of course, I accept the point, Matt. I think life's all about, as Zion said, finding that joy, which comes from having a sense of purpose. And I find that only by helping others can you really feel that joy. There's no pleasure in life more pleasurable than helping someone and making someone else's day, making someone smile, making someone's life easier. This is what humanity is, as you said, Lydia. It really is. And as I go through my day, I think, right, now today I was meant to be somewhere, I wasn't there. Zion, where I'm meant to be, right? But I thought the reason simply because my joy, which I try to live every day, started from yesterday. Because I finished my client's book. That gives me more joy than because this conversation around when you help others, you help yourself. It's true. It really is. It's knowing that my client's book is done is the biggest thing in the world to me anyway. Right now, because I know the joy will give her. You know, if I didn't go all out to make her dream happen, where would I be? You know, and that's, you know, I think, you know, it's a conversation I would need to have more of. You know, so a lot of people think, you know, as you said, you know, around competing. There's no joy in competing. You know, when you win, you don't really win, strangely, because there's another war to have with someone else or other people later on. Whereas when you collaborate, you literally win the world. You create genius. You know, I said, and life's really sort of about shining a light on others, where when they shine, you shine. You know, that's the joy of my life, really. I get to live this every day, you know, through my events, through, you know, even shows like this. Lydia, you could have done this by yourself, really. Unless, your thinking, your way of being is, let me shine a light on these people. Let me give them a stage to talk. That, you know, that will pay you back in millions of ways. There is this greater power that means that we'll get the rewards we deserve. And the greater power really is that there's more joy and more power in the collective. The more people you help, the more joy you feel, the more joy you get. You know, this is why I had to be here today. You know, of all the conversations, this is the one I thought I definitely have to be here. You know, it's a great thing. You know, I can't imagine a world where I don't do what I do for the joy that I get from it. And it's nice to get paid, of course. But you know, that's, you know, I can't say it enough. You know, I literally no one. I was nothing until I started helping other people. That's before doing marketing. That's before just choosing to be just a human. You know, and I don't say that lightly. I'm going to end on this point. You know, say, you know, helping others and elevating others. You know, sometimes the simplest thing: a smile. Hello, how are you doing? Understanding, just listening, just being present. Elevate. You know, when you let them speak, you know, that's where the meaning of life really comes from for me, anyway. So, you know, hopefully that's been too long an explanation, but I'm looking forward to the conversation today. I always learn from all of you. I can't wait to learn some more.
I love what you just said. Is one thing about the being human, is that we're not being a slave, we're not being a boss, we're not being a man, we're not being a woman. We're first of all and foremost, we're human, and we have this whole human family. Whatever has had us think at any point in our lives of being single and needing to fight our way through this was just nonsense, absolute nonsense, because that's not what we each individually on our own have come up with. And what we've come together with is that we lift one another up. I have a saying that is very much like what you were just saying, Eny, and that's that when we lift ourselves, that the world will follow and in turn lift us back. And the thing is, there is no we lift others, we lift ourselves, they lift us, we lift the world lifts us. It's all together. It's all that, call it positive energy, call it contentment, call it what brings us joy, what gives us purpose. It's all together. So to not lift others just doesn't occur to anyone on this call. It doesn't even occur to us. I called this lifting the image of others, but the image, we're really just lifting themselves and lifting ourselves all together. The image comes when we are all able to thrive, when we are helping someone else thrive and they help us thrive back. That automatically lifts that image. I say image because that's kind of a funny word sometimes in our society. It goes into ideas of masks and being who we may not be. We're all talking about real, authentic joy here in lifting others and in lifting our collaboration and our energy, and we learn so much from doing it. So as I say that, I'm going to bring up that idea about what we learned from others when we realize that lifting others lifts us. Is there anyone who'd like to jump in on that, being lifted by that activity? It looked like, yeah, Allison.
I think that's so important for people to understand, is that our joy comes from whatever makes us happy in here. And there's nothing more joyous than it. One of the things I love to coach my women on is women are notoriously bad about not being able to take compliments. Okay. Oh, I love your dress. Oh, this old thing. Okay. No, but that's what we do. You've all heard it.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to them, understand that when someone tells you, I love your dress, and you go, this old thing, you had an opportunity to make them feel good by accepting their compliment. And so when they say, I love your dress, and you say, oh, well, thank you, I really appreciate that, they feel wonderful, you feel wonderful. It's as simple as that. And that to me is one of those common exchanges we have with other people that we don't realize. Mm-hmm. That when we don't accept the compliment, they don't feel good either, because they don't understand why. It happens to me all the time. And so it's a matter of understanding that your joy is my joy is your joy. When you have success, like those people that worked with me and they got promoted, that made me ecstatic, seeing someone else rise and do well. Why does that have to take away from us when other people do well? You know, we play games and people act as if it's important. Why do we play games? Not emotional games. I'm talking like board games, okay? Like cards and stuff like that. It's about playing with other people. It's about the camaraderie. It's about the joy of working together, not smashing the opponent. And so when you go through realizing that we can all win, and I think that's, you know, we've heard about the win-win our whole lives, and it can happen. When we start focusing on that, I can be happy, you can be happy, how can we do this together? Everybody wins. And to me, that's important.
Yeah, Eny. So
I totally agree, Allison. Again, I think for me, it's seen that the world is full of abundance, really. So it's not those who don't elevate other people. Some people think that it's a competition because there's not enough for all of us. Whereas, like you say, Alison, there is more than enough joy for all of us, enough success for all of us, enough light for all of us. Your success doesn't mean I can't be successful myself. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's quite the opposite. Like you say, it really is a case of, for me to elevate someone else, I have to be in a place where I've looked at myself to think, who am I? And then, it's only when you have a good sense of self, a good, sense of who you are, what you do, that you can then elevate other people. There's some people who don't do the elevating people thing. I don't want to say that they don't elevate, they don't elevate people. I'm saying they got a different way of looking at life and different way of being. Whereas those who are truly understanding of the importance of elevating other people, they find the joy first. they find their meaning in life, and the self-love, so to speak. So of course, this will rest on coming from a place of authenticity. I'm not going to sing about someone's praises who I don't know. Like Matt said, we know each other. Again, this is about building relationships to elevate anyone. You have to know who they are, which comes back to knowing who you are first. So that when you truly, I guess at the heart of this is meaning what you say. If I'm going to elevate Lydia, I'm not going to speak to the well of Lydia, by just being, what to call it, almost like soundbiting, right? There's no point in just doing soundbites. I have to truly believe in you and what you do to say what I say about you. Same as anyone else here, right? And there's a joy in knowing you're being authentic, you're being truthful, and truly meaning what you say about the people you speak about. That's almost irreplaceable. I think, so my main point is that we have to be good humans before we can actually elevate others. Those who understand that do this much more authentically, much more easily than those who are superficial. That's just my thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's coming into ourselves and being in ourselves and remaining true to ourselves, not some idea of what we could be if we could just get ahead, if we could just get those other people to not be ahead of us. That doesn't serve us. When we come into ourselves and we're actually present in ourselves, then we can authentically find out who the other people are and then collaborate and rise up. Such a profound point, Eny. I love that. Matt, yeah.
Again, just like you, I love everything that everybody's saying. One of the projects that I'm working on at the moment is to do with solving homelessness. And we talk a little bit about some of the rich people in our societies at the top who could effectively click their fingers or wave a magic wand and solve that problem amongst others. And possibly how would they pick? Maybe that's the reason why they don't, but they choose not to solve those problems with all the money in the banks and things that they have. Instead, they look at, I don't know, quite a few of them look at going to other planets and colonizing those, because that seems like the most beneficial thing for us to have multi-planetary domains, so that then if there's some problem on Earth, then we've still got people living on Mars or on the moon or wherever it might be. But by lifting other people, by giving people homes, by making that problem or other problems, or just like Eny said, I think it was, giving a smile to somebody in a shop when you buy a coffee from them and just making them feel better, or giving them some security because you've helped them to do something, or giving them a home that they didn't have before, or just a way to be able to work, or be able to look after their family better, or have better health, or whatever the case may be. The thing is that by helping other people, we help ourselves. And these people who are supposed to be the people that people aspire to be, there's a lot of people in there, but I like people. These people aspire to, it's all about the money that's not the important thing. The important thing is the people that you've helped, the difference that you've made to somebody else's life and therefore your own. If those people just stopped for a moment and thought of the benefit to their businesses or their marketing strategy of, yeah, if I help 1 billion people in the world, that will come back around to my business. If that's what they're interested in, is the money and the bottom line, then so be it. Why not just do that thing and help people? But really, the people thing is the important thing. It's not about whether the business comes home to roost or anything like that. What matters is that those people can see a difference and feel a difference and then change the world that they live in, whether that's their local community or the person at the coffee shop who you smiled to and asked how their day is going or whatever the case may be. And then they decide to smile for somebody else. And maybe that smile saves a life. Or maybe it inspires somebody to do something wondrous or do something creative that changes many other people's lives. It's those sorts of things that we need to think about beyond just the immediate future of what the difference would be. What is that ripple effect? And not just the ripple beyond us, but how far does that go? And if we stop thinking about, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, what's the reward for me? Think about not just paying it forward to one person, but paying it forward to as many people as possible and hope that it reaches more and more people. I think that is the key to that, for me, at least.
So much of what you just said resonates with me when we have that ability to just raise our own positivity and our own energy, and then we go and we raise the positivity, the energy of somebody else by listening to them, by giving them a smile, by giving them by just letting them know that we're there to hear them and to honor them, by honoring other people and giving them help, giving them a flower, giving them a cup of coffee, giving them whatever it is. It's not a formula. You can't just give everyone a cup of coffee and make them feel better, but whatever it is at the time, someone may need a hug, someone may not want to be touched because that's not the way that they can take in positivity yet. But if we listen to them, eventually they get out of their fear and confusion. And that's where we come from when we're not connected, when we're not positive, when we're not whole, when something has happened to us, there's fear and confusion there that just is inside of us, and we don't act in that way that's connective. By going out and just smiling at somebody who looks grumpy and sharing your joy, not by saying anything, but just, I'm happy to see you. Your presence makes my presence more whole. This is, and like Allison said, with the compliments and not being able to take them, just saying thank you, and even receiving a compliment, even if someone doesn't take it, still made a difference. Though I think our efforts toward other people and giving a flower or a balloon or a coffee or our time or our help is the first part of, and the most important part of, lifting others. The money that comes from some of this is the part that is really after that. But lifting others and making them feel better is that ripple effect. It's changing it's taking away all that the fear and confusion, because it's making one more positive thing in their life that may make the difference. So, Allison.
I love everything that everyone is saying, because it's just like, this is so good. So thank you everyone for all the positivity. Being a horse person, you get used to dealing with animals twice your size, well, 10 times your size, that are very strong. And you have to remember that everything they do comes from that herd mentality. And you have to understand their psychology and how to work with them, because you certainly can't just talk to them because they don't speak. And so it forces you to really learn to look at movement and signals and nuance. And you know what? Human beings are no different. We're herd animals. We're made to be in groups of like-minded people, right? We're made to be around other people. We get lonely. We all do. And so when you can step back from it and understand that need to be part of the group in each and every person, and that need to be heard, even if they don't have the right words, but the way they communicate, whether it's through body language or the look they give you or whatever. When you can start understanding that we're all part of this human experience, and strong emotion is contagious. It's exponential even. And so whether it's that strong emotion of hate and fear and distrust, the only way to eradicate that is that strong emotion of love and support and acceptance. And we're in a balance right now. That balance has been tipped way in the wrong direction. People have been isolated. People have self-isolated and then gotten angry. So for each person that chooses the path of love and not the path of fear, because if I told you there was only two emotions in the world and they are love and fear, everything else comes off of them. And you can start paying attention to how you feel and what's going on around you. And when someone's angry and yelling at you, and you can say, okay, they're angry. Oh, that's fear. It's easier to forgive. And forgiveness is wonderful because it's for you first and for everyone else around you. But we can start reacting in such a way that maybe we're building the world emotions on the love side and helping more people feel like they are part of the community and part of the herd, and that they are needed, valued, and respected. That exponentially, one person at a time, can reverse this flip we've been living under that makes life feel fearful for so many.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Zion. I mean, no, Zion's not there. After all, okay, hold on. Eny, thank you. We're after.
Hopefully, Zion will raise his hand when he wants to add to the conversation. No, I think there is. We're not just doing this for fun. We don't elevate people for fun. So that's it's more. I think it's more a case of who you are, your sense of being. So Matt, as Matt mentioned, sometimes shining the light on others is about helping them solve a real problem, a real issue. So the homelessness always it's life's full of people with issues, with problems, right? And we're here to provide solutions. And again, as Allison says, sometimes that solution is simply, I guess, just acknowledging that the person is human. It can just be just giving them the space to say, I see you, I hear you. Without even saying that much. I suppose here's the simplest way I can explain it. I think it's a difference between when when you walk into a room and say, "Oh, here I am," as opposed to walking into a room and say, "Oh, there you are." That's as simple as it comes, right? It really is that. Which one? How do you see life? Are you the first one here? It's all about me, or are you the second one, which is I'm glad, I see you, I hear you, I'm glad you're here. You're important. That's, I think, when you can go down the second route to actually, to appreciate other people for just being themselves, your life is infinitely, you carry less baggage. You help more people because it's all about feelings, really. And the life's about how you make people feel, right? You know, when you can make them feel good, you have less baggage yourself. They feel good, you feel good, and so this virtuous circle we mentioned earlier just carries on. The law of attraction, the universal laws that give you what you want. You know, I could carry on, right? Reciprocity. It's all the same. You know, it's all the same cycle of joy in our lives. Let me keep quiet.
It's so much about joy, though. You are right, and not only, I would add one more thing to the room, that we can go into the room and say, "Hey, we're together," and what can come of that? I think it's so important to look in and see how you make people feel, because how you make people feel, they make you feel better too. I really love is that idea of the baggage. That is really, really brilliant. Is the more of us that are together, the lighter the load. In fact, the load just kind of dissipates. So thank you, Eny. Matt, were you looking to speak?
No, I'm just looking in amazement because we're together.
Yeah, we are together. There's magic that comes from being together. These roundtables are just so fun, because sometimes we hear things that we haven't heard before. And if we were to be sitting here saying, "Oh, I've got to think of the next thing that I'm going to say," we wouldn't be able to respond because we would just be speaking. It's kind of it's a subtle difference. Obviously, we're just speaking, right? But we're speaking together, and we're bouncing off of one another's ideas. And that's kind of an example in real life of what it is to lift others and lift the whole crowd, because we don't even have to try. Once you get your vibration up to that level of positivity, and everything comes into place. The gratitude comes in, because they are grateful for us, we are grateful for them, we are happy, we are joyful. So yeah, I love this entire conversation. And now, Matt, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's about inclusiveness, in including everybody. And as I quite often talk about, we're sort of led down the path in some ways of hating other people, and we're told that we hate each other, and as such, because of that, we end up hating ourselves, and we're all to blame, and it's all our fault as people, because if we weren't here and hating each other and causing all these problems, then the problems wouldn't exist, and we're the problems, and we're not the problem. It's just that we're misconstrued into thinking that in many ways. And really, the truth is that, like, we all know the phrase, "We are the solution." People are the solution. It's just plain and simple. People are the solution. You smile at somebody, they'll smile at somebody else. You walk into a room and realize that we're together in this room, in this Zoom room, and we're together, and we are all talking the same things, telling the same message in just our own little unique ways. And the real beauty of that is that we're all involved together. We're not looking at each other and making some difference between us. We're not looking at each other and thinking, "Oh, this white person's different, and Zion's like the odd person out in our room because he's not got his camera." No, we're all like, Zion's included in all of this. It doesn't matter that he's not got his camera. What matters is that we're all in this room together, and the people who are watching, either now or after the fact, at a later stage, they're all included as well. There is no proviso that says, "Oh, this isn't really for you if you're doing this, that, or the other," or that we're not interested in your story if your story is about this, that, and that. No, what matters is that we're all in this together. And I think Allison was the one earlier who said it's the whole vote, males, females, any other differences amongst us that make us our unique personage. It all brings us back to unity and being the same, part of people, part of humanity, part of society, part of wanting it to be better. And if we can contribute by lifting each other, then that is the best way forwards for us all, especially at this moment in time.
Have you ever come across those times when you feel that there's a lot of hate around because we've been convinced that maybe that we should, or other people have been convinced that they should hate, but your heart, when you actually listen to your heart, it's not right, that your heart is actually loving, and your stomach feels all full of queasiness and knots and pain, because it's not us that are hating. We are following, when we're following our heart, we find that we don't hate. Sometimes we fear, sometimes we have confusion from that, from what we're being told and what we hear, and then when we listen though, and we observe, there's always 10%, that is at least 10%, that is right about what someone else is saying. No matter how off their rocker you think they are, there's some 10% of what they're saying at least is something that you can relate to, and we can build a bridge. And all of a sudden, when we build that bridge, instead of saying, oh, this is a conflict, we take that 10% and say, I relate to that. And here is what happens when that comes into my world. I think of it in this way, and they say, well, I relate to that. And here's what happens when I bring that into my world. When you build a bridge and you come into one another, we grow exponentially. We grow, and people around us do, because all of a sudden there, two people who would have been fighting are not fighting. You don't have to work with everybody. I mean, that's okay. But when we just say, oh, I am only this kind of person and they are only that kind of person, we miss the entire forest for the trees. So that is kind of what I see as being that part of the pain and confusion, and the when we are told to hate one another, so or that we do hate one another. That's a very interesting point. I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in on this point that Matt brought up. Yeah, Eny.
I always find it's interesting that, I guess people always, people, it's easy to think when you focus on elevating others that they are needy. I think, you mentioned growth, everyone grows, right? Just now. I think that's the truth of it, right? I think I always find when I elevate, when I work on shining light on other people, it's funny how they suddenly find the creativity. Sometimes to solve their own problems, but more often than not to create genius, real genius, which is same as saying to solve their own problems and beyond. I think I think just giving people that respect, that humanity. It's more than just saying you're not alone. It's more than just saying that I see you. It truly empowers people to to find the solution to the problems, to find true solutions, which sometimes that solution helps all of us. So I think just when you spread the joy, it has ripple effects. I think someone said that somewhere earlier, right? It does have ripple effects. And that ripple effect can be humongous. It really can be. What we don't want to do is dim people's lights. By being the ones who say, no, you can't do that. No, you're not good enough to do that. No, that's not for you. You're incapable, you're not the right person, you don't deserve it. So when we go the opposite way, we open the doors to so many great things that can happen in life. That's my personal experience.
Yeah.
One thing I love that, Eny, and I, open the doors. I love that to the great things in life. That's people don't realize when we encounter hate, though. And I don't know if you guys have ever worked with the 4 agreements, but I just absolutely love that body of work. And, the second agreement is don't take anything personally. And when we see other people spewing that hate, if we can step back from it and say, wait a minute, this reflects on them, not me. Even if I'm the person they hate, the hate is theirs. And for some reason, we think when someone spews it on us, we have to own it. We have to grab it. We have to feel it. We have to go back and fight the battle. You hit me, I'm going to hit you harder. No, the hate is theirs. It's their problem. I don't have to own it. I don't have to absorb it. I don't have to agree with it. And I certainly don't have to lash out at them.
Nope.
This is when that understanding that this is their issue. And if you hate, when it's people hate a whole group of people for whatever nebulous reason they come up with, that's sad for them. That's really sad for them, because the people spewing this hate out to everyone else, you have to question, what do they say to themselves? How badly do they hate themselves?
Mm.
And at that point, I send love.
Yeah.
I send forgiveness. I send hope. They may never feel it, and they may never get through their tough shell, but I am not going to make it pass on forward. And I'm going to remember there's something that happened to them, and there are things that happened to me that made me angry and hurt and hate at times in my life. And if we can all choose a little bit more understanding, people are struggling right now. And just that little bit of understanding, if I can understand you when you're yelling at me, to understand why you're angry and help you see that maybe you don't need to be, or at least not lash back out at you and make it worse and give you something else to be angry about.
Right. To just accept, if we can't, we don't have to feel comfortable. We don't have to like being yelled at, but to accept that, to take in to ourselves that it's not personal. Even if they think it's personal when they're yelling at us, it's not personal. It is a whole bunch of pain and confusion, dysregulation, things. We all get knocked off sometimes. We each do. I do, and I'm sure everybody here does. And when we can step back, we can make it so that we may not get knocked off for as long. But if someone else is in that pain and confusion, accept it. And if you can, just send them love, change that pain and confusion. Make a little bit of a difference. Yeah, Eny.
Matt, are you with us? You're still with us, Matt. So that gives
Yeah.
me joy, right?
Those centipedes are getting him.
Lydia, I was in London last weekend. Not this one, just gone last weekend. And I've got a property in London, and a builder man literally he did some work. There was a leak in the chimney. He fixed the chimney. So I had to go and look before I could pay him. But so I'm like, no, come, let's talk. Let's talk. I'll shake his hand. No, I'm not shaking your hand. He started shouting, literally shouting for about 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, not to worry. It's not to worry. I'm looking at him saying, stop shouting, really. You know, let's talk rather than you just carry on shouting. Nothing gets resolved if you carry on shouting. You know, oh, I should punch your face, and I'm like, you know, I'm as big as you are, so it's fine. You know, that's not going to happen, right? And there's police and that. So, you know, my point is this: I resolved not to hate him. I'm not. No, hate is a big word. No, I don't even dislike him. You know, so again, the point that you're making just now, I think, is finding a point of understanding. Of course, I know where he's coming from. He's done work. He hasn't been paid, right? Okay, I get that. You know, but there's a reason why I haven't paid you. You know, the leak is still there. Basically, I'm saying, right. You know, yeah, you know, but still, no, there's no point in me disliking him, hating him. Instead, like I mentioned earlier, I think when you're human, when you have this outlook of trying to get shared understanding, you know, understanding of other people's perspectives, which you need to be able to shine a light on them, you find solutions. You know, so my solution was simply, okay, I'll get another builder to go and look at the work and tell me that it's been done properly or not. If it's done properly, I'll pay you. If it hasn't, then we have a conversation to have again. I said, no, so that's just an example of where we don't need to react with anger and reciprocate, but now bad behavior, hatred, dislike, anger, you know, and all those things that come with the negative behaviors. You know, we tend to find a way when we slow our mind down a bit and see the other person's situation, their perspective. You
Absolutely.
know, that's where, you know, that's how life really moves forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And this really is all about when we lift each other, and when we make those connections. If we've lifted someone to begin with, then we're not going to tend to react as negatively, because we say, oh, our way of being, our communication or our collaboration has broken down somewhere. Let's fix that. It's there's a leak, there hasn't been payment, no one, you know, let's fix this, as opposed to, you are not taking care of your end of what I need. But we start out with a collaboration, there's automatically no reason to expect that the person is trying to hurt us. We can say, hey, this is a problem. There's water on my head. Can you help? But we don't have to, the lifting each other first is really, really beneficial. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned along the way is
Indulge me. Let me add a bit, which I think is important to the conversation here, right? You know, I said before I met this man, I never met him before. My agents do all that stuff. They got him, right. You know, I met my agent. I said to my agent, you know, deep down, actually, I appreciate this man. I really do, because he solved a problem I had for 20 years in the property. This property leaked for 20 years. No one told me. I've done everything. I've done everything else: damp proofing, guttering, mat. You know what I'm talking about in England, especially. I've done all these things. I'm saying no one ever found a problem. He found it. I'm like, right. For that, I appreciate what he done. Now, and that mindset of I appreciate what he's done was why I didn't feel the need to react to his anger or to see him as a demon. You know, it's a mindset thing. I think it's a way of being where you truly appreciate other people for, you know, for what they do and who they are. You know, and then from there everything else flows. So I just thought I'll add that.
that makes so much sense. And you're exemplifying that who knows what's good and what's bad. This is something that I've said before, but it relates right here. There's it feels bad in the moment, but how do we grow? How do we go in a better direction? How do we significantly improve because we had that problem shown to us. It's always a gift and an opportunity. And I love that that's what you did. If I would love for people to hear what you just said, Eny, that yeah, we don't always know that there's X, Y, or Z problem, or we can't take care of it because we don't know, or something has occurred. But with the knowledge and the time, and even the gripes, we know that it's important to you, so we can take care of it. It's a gift. It's beautiful. So as we yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, just be quick. So part of what we're talking about is working together or collaborating or whatever the case may be. And in the example with Eny in this bill, there's some negotiation. There's somebody gets X percentage and somebody gets Y percentage in direct relationship to collaboration, for example. Two people work together, they aim to achieve a goal, and one person might get 45% of whatever that goal results in, and the other person might get 55%. It doesn't mean that the person getting 45% has no value that they've gained from that. What it means is that we need to understand that not everything is 50-50, not everything is black and white, or this way and that way. It's a matter of working together to find the end result that matters. People am prepared to lose out in some way, shape, or form, because I'm not interested in the money. And going back to what I said about the people who could solve some of the big problems in our world, they're not interested in people, they're interested in the money. And once that we get people to move away from being just looking at those people and thinking, I should be interested in the money because those people are successful. That's not what our interest is. That's not what we should aim for. Sure, we all need money, and sure, that makes the world go round. But the real joy, the real benefit, the real lifting of ourselves, others, and humanity and people together is what we really get out of things. It's not the percentage marks, it's not the pence or USD, it's not anything at all. All it is about how we feel at the end of the day. What we go home and think about. Is it something that is fearful or something that's about love? I think that's the real judgment of what we get out of life. Because for too long, we've lived with all of this hate and fear and resilience to each other. And really, it's time to unify ourselves and come together and realize that love is the thing that binds us together. And that's what's important for me.
Yeah, love is all you need. And that's kind of a mic drop on why we're here, why we lift others, why we're rising together. And it's all about love. And you know who needs love? Me. And you, and you, and you. It's all about love. We just keep loving on other people. Make your life a lot better. That's why we're here. Matt.
No, I was saying I want some too.
Yeah, exactly. We do. So I want to wrap this up and say that I guess I've already said that I think it is about love and raising our vibration and the ripple effect. What would you guys say? as we go out of this conversation is the real crux of the conversation. Allison.
Sorry, and I would love to end with this, that if you're going through life not feeling love, not feeling like you're loved, not feeling like people care, it's not their problem. It's yours. I've been there, going through life wondering, would anybody even care? Would anybody even show up to my funeral? What's going on? And when I finally dug down deep enough to own the fact that I didn't love myself, I'd been taught that was not acceptable. You don't do that. That's showing up. That's bragging, blah, 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 blah. But when I finally realized that's not true, and I can choose to love myself, if we can't love ourselves, how can you believe that anyone else loves you? And if you can't believe that anyone else loves you, you don't feel it. So for God's sakes, if you're going through life wondering when is your turn, right now is your turn. Look inside, fix in here, because each and every one of us has a purpose and a reason and beautiful things about each and every one of us. And when you learn to look at those beautiful things and recognize them in yourself, you'll be able to recognize when everyone around you is showing you love in a way that you never experienced before.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Eny.
And that's truly beautiful, Alison. No, it's true as well. You know, a lot of people don't realize that self-love is truly the foundation of everything. You know, confidence comes from that. I think, you know, finding solutions, which is what life's all about, really. You know, so I love the whole yes, no, approach that we have to give to life. Like, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I do this? Do I do that? Now, that's just what life is, right? Decisions, decisions, decisions. And having that self-love gives you, you know, a clear direction. Sometimes, you know, we may get it wrong, but alas, you know, the universe knows what we really need. They come back to Alison's point. We have a unique gift within us, all of us, which unless we truly tune into who we are, you know, self-awareness, self-love, then we don't, you know, we tend not to realize our true abilities, our true gifts. And so when we find that gift, invariably it comes down to helping others, where we start the conversation from today, right? You know, helping others is what humanity is really about. It's what we are. You know, when we discover that thing we can do for humanity, for other people, which may be, you know, it could be a tiny thing, it could be a big thing. You know, I started, so the electric bulb man, I say like that was his mission in life. And the same as the person who created post-it notes. I'm saying that's two different missions. Alas, they're solutions, right? They're genius solutions to what the humanity needs, right? You know, we have that ability too, only by truly looking within and finding out who we are. We find the solutions. You know, Matt mentioned homeless people earlier. You know what? There was a time recently, I had a lady messaging me almost every couple of days. I'm homeless. I can't carry on. You know, and I was like, oh damn. You know, I'm in the UK. She's in the US. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm like, no, look, you've got this. Find a solution, right? Sit down, work out what to do next. This carried on for about 2 months. I haven't got a job. My car's broken down. I'm like, look, yesterday you said you're going to be homeless. You weren't homeless, right? You found a solution. Do it again. You know, you've got this. You really have. You know, eventually the conversation turned to, oh, I found a job. I'm starting next week. I'm like, oh, yeah, thank goodness. You know, you know, the car's still breaking down, I'm sure. I'm saying, look, like, all the way along, you've proved that you can help yourself. You really have. You've never sunk once when you thought you would sink. You know, so just breathe, do it again, help yourself. And she did. And she always does, right? That's what I mean by we can find the answer within ourselves every time. It's no, I might leave us to, maybe two principles I tend to live with, right? I think one is one I learned very early in business, give us gain. That changed my life completely, and that is fundamental to the way I think, the way I am. When you give, you get more, you gain. That's just how life works. When you elevate others, when you shine light on others, people take you more seriously. They listen to you a lot more than if I turn up and talk about me, what's the point? People just tune out. Whereas when I talk about others, people listen. And then they ascribe you some credits. Oh, Eny is so kind, or Eny is so genuine. Are you with me? I'm saying this is how my life really goes. And that's a reality. If you run a business, that translates into something later on, into relationships, which it means more people you can help. So the second principle that I like to live with is leave others better off than when you met them. I always try and do that. So sometimes it's not by doing much, it's just by showing appreciation or just acknowledging who they are. And so those are my simple principles. And with that, I get through life quite well and run a business that's quite successful. So, I will thank you for the opportunity for sure, Lydia.
Thank you, Eny. I love this, and I love that we, yeah, just show up, smile, listen, say hello, just anything. It may be small. That's okay. No, we have to not judge ourselves. Matt, do you have anything before we wrap this up?
I think one of the important lessons of life about people is that we're all people and we all have something in common. And whether it's loving ourselves or loving other people or wanting love from other people or wanting love from ourselves, we have wants and desires and the ability to fulfill some want and desire, whether it's for some. Well, it's actually mirroring in the sense of we wanted to help each other, we wanted to help other people, and that helps ourselves because we are all fundamentally of the same stuff: energy, love, belief, trust, some unique or numerous unique abilities or talents or skills. And those are the things that make us up as individuals. And the real beauty about being human is that we're not alone. We're never alone. We're always part of people. And we all, if we can reach out to each other and look past any difficulties that there are, and just think about love and the ability of how that can help us all from this moment move forwards to something better. Like Eny said, leave people better off than what you found them. Leave somebody with something that helps them, no matter how small that might be, no matter what it is or what it isn't. Just try something. Just do something. Just try it a little bit harder and believe that you can do it. Like the woman that Eny was talking about, who she's found a job, she's found a home, she's found a car, she's making the car move, she's found a friend in Eny. That's the most important thing. None of the other things. The most important thing is that she's got a friend to talk to, because she realizes that is something that she needs. And Eny, in his wisdom and his gorgeous, beautiful, happy self, has managed to give her some hope and some thing to live for and to continue. And that might have been something and nothing, or it could have been the difference between she gives up and she continues. And if we realize that just the smallest thing that we might do for somebody else might be the difference between them giving up and continuing, then surely just the smallest thing is worthwhile. So I would say that just keep trying, keep going. Change is coming and change will happen. Let's try and make it for the betterment of all of us, not just something that's not going to be good for any of us. So, Lydia, thank
Change
you
is
very much for the
inevitable.
opportunity. I'm sure I speak for, yeah. Let me just finish though. I'm sure I speak for everybody who's been on the roundtables. I know that I've not been at all of them, but I've been at a number of them. And I'm sure I speak for everybody here and everybody else on the roundtables. Thank you for the very smallest thing that you do, which is the biggest thing to all of us, that you include us all and you give us a space to talk and subjects to talk about. And that's beautiful because those things are beautiful to talk about and the thoughts that they will give. So as much as you say thank you to us at the end of my shows, I think we all say thank you to you as well. I'm sure everybody here agrees.
There's no better way to do it, you know, and I started to respond. There's a delay here. The change is inevitable. So why not be part of it and make it for the best? That's relationships are inevitable unless we want to live in a cave and be a hermit, and then we'll probably still have a relationship with something, at least with ourselves, and maybe with some passing insects and rodents. But we really, why not make it for the better? Raising our vibration, raising the vibration of others, because, you know, like Eny said, we're not, you got this, you haven't, it hasn't gotten you yet. The lowest lows bring us to the highest highs. And so there's something amazing in everybody who's getting through those lows. Make sure that they know that you hear them, you acknowledge them, and you don't pity them. You don't say, oh, you don't have this, let us do this for you. They got this. That's the thing about lifting others, is helping them to know that they got this, and working for that change to be the change that we want to see and be the change. I appreciate all of you so much and look forward to seeing what the responses are to this conversation. So thank you for showing up from all of your different parts of the world. For Eny in the southern tippy tip of England, and Allison in Texas, and me in snowy Vermont, and Matt, who's coming to us today from Mombasa, and Zion, who came to us from Nigeria. I appreciate being in this room with all of you. Thank you.
You are the star, Lydia. Thank you. As Matt said it, no, you really are the star. You know, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for sticking in there and taking part in this roundtable discussion or viewing it after. If you are interested in this, then you're probably already wondering or knowing what you've done to create that ripple effect. So I challenge you to go out and see what you can do to make a life better, because that will come back tenfold, maybe more. If you liked this, please hit like. And if you have been lurking out there but haven't subscribed yet, please gently push the subscribe button. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week or the next time that you tune in to the Tuesday telecast at The Joyful Path. Ciao.